Yeah, right. Hey, my dear students, hope you guys are all doing good. Hope you guys are all perfectly fine. So, since you are coming from the auditing examination, in this video, I'm going to do a very quick review and I'm going to share my thoughts on this CA inter auditing question paper for September 2025 attempt, in which even I will also provide you the keys to the MCQs also. But before that, a caution for you. So before you go for, since you have one more exam left out in the group 2 paper, if you are such a person who will get very tense looking at the answers, I will suggest you to skip it. If you are pretty confident about it, if you are not such a weak-hearted person, so no issue, you can continue to watch this video. So but in this video, I'm going to share with you even the answers to the MCQs also. But before I share all the answers and all, let me give you my feedback. What is my overall review? See, I will say descriptive part, very easy questions are there in the descriptive part. Yes, there are damn easy questions are there, which are straightforward, pretty straightforward questions are there. In MCQs also, yes, in MCQs also, some MCQs are easy, some MCQs are little bit tricky. Some MCQs are tricky. So I will say, if you have put a reasonable effort, if you would have prepared for at least the day before strategy and all we have done, if you have covered that portion, which is very frequently tested, it is not something which is unexpected question paper. Yeah, questioning pattern was very much usual when it comes to descriptive part. Yes, questions are very usual from the routine chapters they have tested it. And MCQs part, guys, here I'm very happy looking at a few questions where just yesterday itself I have uploaded one video on audit of banks important MCQs. From there, straightforward questions have been tested, like funded facilities, like those questions are tested. And also audit strategy planning and program, for which we have uploaded a revision video. From there also plenty of questions are there. So without any delay further, let me go into the questions now. So case scenarios, see, case study facts they have given very lengthy, but questions they have asked are pretty straightforward questions they have asked. So let us try to directly look at the questions. So here I have a question paper before me. So first question, CA Rajesh has considered all the factors affecting the supervision and review of the engagement team members. Which of the following is not a factor in deciding nature, timing and extended direction of the engagement team members and review of their work? So this is a question from audit strategy planning and program, where we have one concept there. What are the factors which affect the form, content and extent of audit documentation? So there they have told some 3-4 factors they have told. Out of that, they are asking below the options which is not a factor. See, size and complexity of the audit, yes, this will decide how much direction supervision we have to do. Capability and competence of the engagement team members, this also will decide the nature, timing and extent of the supervision which we are required to do. It also depends on the area of the audit. Whereas this one, the availability of the time and the trained personnel to review the work, this is not one of the factor. So literally, this is something like a remembrance part. So if you go to the audit strategy planning and program, even if you open my material and see, there you will find one concept, one question, what are the factors which affect direction, supervision and review of the engagement team members. So in that, they're asking you to remember that list and option which will not fit in there. So here the option which will not fit in there is the availability of time and trained personnel to review the work. So this is one such factor which will not determine the nature, timing and extent of the supervision and review. Next one. Coming to the next question, as per the understanding of CA Rajesh, which of the below options falls within the scope of the audit of financial statements? This is a question from nature, objective and scope of audit. Straight away question which will not fall within the scope of the audit. So if you see it here, number 1, reliability and sufficiency of financial information. Yes, this will fall within the scope of the audit. Responsibility of preparation and presentation of financial statements. No. Expertise and authentication of documents. No. Duties outside of the scope of competence of the auditor. No. So which will fall part of the scope of the auditor is reliability and sufficiency of financial information. Next. So suggest here, see, now one interesting part here is they have started asking now matching kind of questions. 2 MCQs they have asked, where they are something doing like a matching concept. So these kind of questions we generally used to see in the CMA, but now they have started asking this matching kind of questions. So basically, they are trying to kill more time. In the MCQs, they are drafting the questions in such a manner that so much of time you will spend in understanding the MCQs and solving the MCQs. In that manner, questions are tested. Why I am telling you that is, if you look at the MCQs also, many questions are like, choose the incorrect statement, choose the correct statement, which statement is apt, which statement is not apt. So those kind of questions they have tested. These kind of MCQs actually take a lot of time because each option we have to analyze. In those kind of questions, if you are answering one MCQ, it means indirectly you are answering 4 true or false statements. So that is where majority of the time is going to go in. But whatever it is, let us look at the MCQs here. Sampling risk. So according to me, the answer is 1A, 2B, 3D and 4C. Even it also sounds reasonable. Like sampling risk, if you take sample was not representative of the population. If you are taking an inappropriate sample, that is a sampling risk. Audit risk, risk that auditor gives an inappropriate opinion when the financial statements are materially misstated. Not an audit risk, risk that auditor might express an opinion that financial statements are materially misstated when they are not. That means you are giving a modified opinion when unmodified opinion is appropriate, as we have discussed in our sessions. This is not getting covered under audit risk component. So it is not an audit risk. Risk that auditor might express an opinion that financial statements are materially misstated when they are not. This will not fall under audit risk. This is a business risk actually. Non-sampling risk, erroneous conclusions due to application of inappropriate audit procedure. If you are giving wrong conclusion because of performing inappropriate audit procedures, that is not a sampling risk, that is a non-sampling risk. So option will be 1A, 2B, 3D, 4C. If you look at the combination, this is the combination I am getting, 1A, 2B, 3D and 4C. Next one. CA Rajesh decided to go for sampling for verification of controls, transactions and for applying substantive procedures. In this regard, select a statement from the below options which is not apt. So once again, they are asking you to find out the statement which is incorrect. So now if you see here, it is possible to make 100% examination of test of controls. So it might not be possible, but remaining 3 is actually where the question lies. So 100% examination may be made of a population constituting a small number of large value items. So 100% verification where it will be possible, where you have small value items, a small number of large value items, there you can do 100% verification. This is correct option. 100% examination is appropriate when there is a significant risk and other means do not provide sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. This is also where 100% examination will be needed. And also the repetitive nature of calculations or other processes performed automatically by an information system makes a 100% examination cost effective. Then also you can do 100% verification. So in the given case, it is not always possible to make 100% examination of controls. So this is a statement which is not apt. So option A is the correct option. Now coming to the subsequent questions. CA Rajesh wants to choose a sample size which enable him to make a proper risk assessment of the population. In selecting the sample size, which of the below option is not correct? Once again, they are asking you incorrect option to choose from. Option A, the lower the risk auditor is willing to accept, the greater will be the sample size. Definitely yes. If there is an increase in the tolerable rate of deviation, then the sample size will decrease. Inverse relationship, this is also correct. Other things being equal, the greater the reliance auditor places on the operating effectiveness of controls in the risk assessment, the greater is the extent of auditor's test of control and thus the sample size will increase. So when you want to rely more on internal controls, you will try to perform more extent of test of controls. That means sample size for test of controls is going to increase there. So this is an incorrect statement. So here it should have been increase. If they replace this decrease term with increase, that would have been correct statement, but instead they have told it as decrease. So this statement is incorrect. And last option, when there is an increase in the expected rate of deviation of the population to be tested, the sample size will increase. This is also a correct statement. They are asking which one is incorrect. C will become the incorrect option. Next one. The auditor's judgment as to sufficiency of audit evidence is not dependent on one of the factors mentioned below. Choose one such factor, which is not a factor determining the sufficiency of audit evidence. Risk of material misstatement will decide, size and characteristics of the population, materiality also will decide, whereas nature and source of audit evidence, this is something which will affect the appropriateness, not the sufficiency. So they are asking which is not a factor on which sufficiency will depend. So nature and source of audit evidence, this is something which will decide the appropriateness, not the sufficiency. So option A is the correct option. Next one. Now we have one more case scenario. Once again, I'm not going through the entire case scenario. I will directly come to the point here. The following are a part of internal control questionnaire in respect of purchases, creditors, inventories and fixed assets. Match the apt combination from the following information. As I've told, one more kind of matching question. So if you see here, are material inspected and counted, weighed or measured in the receiving department after you have made the purchase, before you confirm the purchase, whether that quantity whatever you have ordered, whether the quality whatever you have ordered for, whether the same quality and quantity has been received or not. This question you have to ask. This is the area related to purchases. In respect of raw material and supplies, are reconciliation made of quantities and or values received as shown by purchase invoices, whatever amount which has been shown in the purchase invoice, whether the same thing has been charged or not. So with receipt into stock records. So this is something which is relating to creditors. Values, right? We are checking the purchase invoice values. That means purchase is already over. If you are verifying the purchase invoice, that means purchase is already done. Now you are checking on the confirmation of the amount. That means this is something which is relating to creditors. Next. Are there norms for reorder level? Reorder level is a term associated with the inventories. Is there a written procedure for periodic verification and discrepancies disclosed by reports investigated? And are there records for financial accounts corrected with appropriate authority? This is the question relating to fixed assets. So my options are 1B, 2A, 3D, 4C. So if I do that, 1B, 2A, 3D and 4C. Yes, this is the correct option. Next one. In respect of confirmation from the trade receivables, choose the statement which is incorrect. Now once again they are asking you to choose the incorrect statement. Now let me read the remaining things here. See, this is actually a question from audit of items of the financial statements. So from the audit of items of the financial statements with regard to the trade receivables, they are asking a few questions. So first one, see, first question they say, confirmation from the trade receivable should necessarily be as on the balance sheet date. No guys, this itself is the incorrect statement. Why? Because you can get the external confirmation either as on the balance sheet date or some other date which will be closer to the balance sheet date is also acceptable. It need not always be only on balance sheet date. It could be on some alternative date also. Next, this is incorrect statement. The requested confirmation should preferably be without mentioning the balance outstanding wherein the debtor is requested to respond with balance outstanding. Yes, preferably if you do it, that will be better. Instead of asking him to confirm, you directly ask him the amount. That will be much better comparatively. Right. Next one. The methods of selection and selection of trade receivables to be circulated should not be revealed to client. For which asserts you have to get the for which trade receivables you have to get the confirmation. That list you should not reveal it to the client. The auditor employs direct confirmation procedure with the consent of the client. Definitely consent of the client will be needed. So if you are asking for incorrect statement, option A will be incorrect. Next one. Some of the parties to whom the confirmation request were sent have replied and some did not. CA Ravi Chopra analyzed the responses received and discussed with his team members the reason for non-responses and asked them to send the reminders. Choose a statement which is not correct. Once again, incorrect statement they are asking. So here, instead of analyzing all the options, I will straight away come to the 2 point. See, these two are straight away points. If you don't get a response to a negative confirmation, it does not explicitly indicate. There is no direct indication that the third party has received it and he has not responded. Then, failure of a confirming party to respond to a negative confirmation provides significantly less persuasive evidence. This is also true. Now, here comes a thing here. Confirming party may be less likely to respond in the case of disagreement with a confirmation request when the request is not in their favor. Here he is more likely to respond. When you have sent a confirmation request to a third party and when the matter is not in their favor and when that third party is also disagreeing, then there are more chances for responding. So correct statement is confirming parties may be more likely to respond, indicating their disagreement with a confirmation request when the information request is not in their favor. Definitely common sense. If something is not in your favor, there are more chances for responding that more. Next one. In respect of registration or satisfaction of charges created on borrowings of the company, the following information has to be disclosed. Once again, this is the question from audit of items of the financial statements. So regarding charges, what information has to be disclosed by the management in the financial statements? Here correct option is B. Charges or satisfaction, either new charges created or satisfactions which are yet to be registered with the ROC beyond the statutory period, the details of them along with the reasons. So this is all required to be disclosed. Option B is the correct option. Next one. CA Ravi Chopra has considered all the events. This is an interesting question once again, guys. See, from 500 series, how many questions are tested? CA Ravi Chopra has considered all the events that cast a doubt on entity's ability to continue as going concern. Consider the following examples of events or conditions that may cast a significant doubt on entity's ability to continue as a going concern. Now they have given indicators. They are asking you to find out the classification. Shortage of important supplies, operating indicator. Loss of major market share, operating indicator. Inability to pay the creditor, financial indicator. Non-compliance with the regulatory requirement, other indicator. Arrears or discontinuance of dividends, financial indicator. Emergence of highly successful competitor, operating indicator. Pending legal proceedings, other indicator. Inability to obtain financing, financial indicator. So now I have made that list here. So once again, so 1, 2 and 6. 1, 2 and 6 are operating events. And as you could see here, 3, 5 and 8 are financial indicators and 4 and 7 are other events. So option D will be the correct option here. Next one. See here, this is one such interesting question. Listen guys. CA Ravi Chopra considered subsequent events which are required to be dealt with in the financial statements. Select from the below options the one which is not an event providing evidence of conditions that arose after the date of financial statements. Many students will get confused here. The question they are asking is, they are asking you to identify such event which is which is not conforming to the conditions existing after the balance sheet date. Which means indirectly they are asking the question, they are asking you to identify those events which conform to the conditions existing as on the balance sheet date. Able to understand? The question is, they are asking to identify which of the following is not an event which is conforming the conditions that arose after the date of financial statements. That means indirectly they are asking which of the following is an event which conforms to the conditions which are already existing as on the balance sheet date. Yes or no? Got my point? So you are required to identify the event that conforms to the conditions which is already existing on the balance sheet date. That is what indirectly they are asking. Why? Because if you look at the framing of the question, they are telling that CA Ravi Chopra, select from the below here. So select from the below points the one which is not an event providing evidence of the conditions that arose after the date of financial statements. So which is not an event which conforming to the conditions arose after the financial statements. That means indirectly which of the following is an event which conform to the conditions which is existing as on balance sheet date. So other way you have to think about it. So here, settling a legal claim outside the court at a reduced amount between the date of the financial statements and date of the auditor's report for which a provision has already been made in the financial statements. So this is what the event which is conforming to the conditions existing as on the balance sheet date. That's what they're asking, which is not an event providing evidence of conditions that arose after the date of the financial statements. Clear? Issue of new share capital. These are all subsequent events which are conforming to the conditions existing after the balance sheet date. Planned merger, destruction of substantial inventories due to fire between the date of the financial statements and the date of the auditor's report. So all these are examples of the events which conform to the conditions existing after the balance sheet date. One such event which is conforming to the conditions that are existing as on the balance sheet date is option A. Clear? Next. Now coming to the general MCQs. CS student Ajay learned the concept of classification of advances as per RBI prudential norms for agricultural advances. Once again, this is what we have discussed in the yesterday night. I have identified few MCQ topics from audit of banks. Do you remember, guys? 2 + 2 4 straight away, 4 marks if you have watched that video. So if agricultural advances, when they will be classified as NPA, correct option. If installment of principal or interest thereon remains overdue for 2 crop seasons in case of short duration crop and 1 crop season in case of long duration crops. Now here they have done some permutation and combination. Somewhere they have told 1 crop season for short duration, 2 crop seasons for long duration. No. Installment of principal and interest they have told, that is also not installment of principal or interest if they remain overdue for 2 crop seasons in case of short duration crops. If they remain for 1 crop season in case of long duration crops, they will be classified as NPA. Next one. Now here once again they come here. During the course of audit of the company, CA Nitin has verified various assertions relating to income statement and balance sheet items. Consider the following statements. Occurrence and valuation are related to balance sheet items. No. Occurrence is relating to P&L. Valuation is related to balance sheet. Measurement and existence are related to income statement. No. Existence is related to balance sheet item, not P&L item. Measurement and completeness, they are relating to income statement captions. Yes. Existence and rights and obligations are related to balance sheet captions. Yes, these 2 are true statements. So 3 and 4 are correct. Next one. So now this is also one thing once again from funded and non-funded facilities, which we have revised just before the exam. So they are asking you to identify which one of these are funded. Out of this, what are funded loans? Letters of credit is non-funded, cash credit is funded, bank guarantee non-funded, overdraft is funded, standby letter of credit once again non-funded, bills are discounted and purchased funded, participation on risk sharing basis, it is also funded. So 2, 4, 6 and 7. So 2, 4, 6 and 7, as you could see, these are the funded loans. So this is what regarding MCQs, guys. Now coming to the descriptive question, as I have told, descriptive was comparatively easy, much more kind of expected questions. So first question you will be able to find out. First question is, this question you will find if you look at our material, audit strategy, planning and program, last question will be there. In most of the assertions, much of the evidence will be obtained from different evidence. Out of that, you have to weigh which will provide the maximum evidence. If you refer from our material, the last question will be there in audit strategy, planning and program. Before materiality discussion, straight away question, guys. So what type of audit evidence generally auditor look into? Most appropriate evidence. So what types of audit evidence? Sometimes inquiry, sometimes inspection. So yeah, so that all will be there. Then specify the most appropriate audit evidence in respect of verification of cash in hand. For verification of cash in hand, doing the physical count will give best evidence. Verification of investment pledged with the bank, getting the external confirmation could be a best evidence. Same example will be there in the last paragraph there. Next one. CA Ram Manohar and his team have just started the statutory audit of a listed company, which is into manufacturing of agro products. The auditor wishes to plan and perform the audit so as to reduce the risk of material misstatement to an acceptably low level. Discuss how the auditor can satisfy the objective of identifying and assessing risk of material misstatement. Straightforward question from risk assessment internal control. How do you identify and assess the risk of material misstatement? So 4 steps will be there: identify, assess. So that part you have to write it here. Next one. Next question we have regarding SA 501. So this here they speak about 2 things. So due to administrative reasons, the management has taken up stock verification on other than balance sheet date. There is one more unit where you are unable to attend the inventory verification because of practical impact, because of so that phrase we use in SA 505. So it becomes highly impracticable than what you are supposed to do. So as you could see, the company has taken up inventory verification as on 31st of March. However, there was news of local disturbances in the city during the last week of the March, whereby auditor cancelled his planned visit for attending inventory verification. So management is doing the verification on that date. If you are unable to attend the management inventory counting process, you should do the verification on your own on some alternative date. If you are unable to do the physical verification, if it becomes highly impracticable, then you perform alternative audit procedures. If alternative audit procedures are also not possible, then you have to modify the opinion, right? But first, you should plan your verification on some alternative date. That point you have to write it here specifically. So this is the question from SA 501. What do you mean by deficiency in internal control? What do you mean by significant deficiency in internal control? Straightforward question, SA 265. Next one. This is very expected question. We all well versed with it. What is the purpose of communicating the key audit matters? And that communicating key audit matter is not a substitute for certain items. What are they? Straightforward question from audit reporting. Yeah, this is a straightforward question from nature, objective, and scope of audit. So what are the aspects which will be examined by the auditor to ensure that financial statements are not misleading? So what points you will verify to make sure that financial statements are not misleading? So that entries in the books of financial statement entries in the books of accounts are supported by supporting documents. There is evidence for that. Information should be clear and unambiguous. That one. Next one. So now this is also a question from audit reporting. They are asking you for which companies internal financial controls will not become applicable. They are also asking for which kind of private limited companies CARO will not become applicable. I think you should have given your best in these questions. Straightforward questions, easy questions. There is nothing you are required to draft the sentences. That issues also will not be there. Straight away you can write the applicability and score the marks. 5 marks applicability. Next. Revise the terms of audit engagement or to remind the entity of existing terms. Nothing but what are the circumstances in which you are required to revise the terms of the audit engagement, or when you are required to issue the engagement letter once again, ethics and the terms of engagement. So that's what you are required to write. Next one is regarding audit of banks. So where they talk about NPA, income recognition, and also they talk about takeout finance related questions. Next one. So this question is from audit of banks. Next, they are asking a question relating to audit documentation. Explain how the auditor can fulfill the documentation. So what is this? Yeah. How the auditor came to know about several financial cases on one of the receivables where outstanding balance was material to overall reasonableness figures. CA Thakur has discussion with the okay, we will read this question in a detailed manner. So Thakur and Co chartered accountants were conducting an audit of LLP. They have verified the receivables and concluded that all receivables are genuine and recoverable. However, before the final completion of the audit, the auditors came to know of severe financial crisis of one of the receivables of Raj Enterprises, whose outstanding balances was material to the overall reasonableness figures as on the date of the financial statements. CA Thakur has a discussion with the appropriate level of management to address the issue, and the management finally agreed to make the provision for the same as suggested by the auditor. You are required to ensure how the auditor can fulfill the documentation. So nothing but you found the misstatement. See here you can refer to SA 450 also. Even SA 450 also, if you see, there they say first if you identify the misstatements that you go and communicate with the management will correct it. If they have not corrected it, so why they haven't corrected it? So that SA 450 aspect of documentation you can bring in here, and also mention any 4 different examples of audit documentation. This is straightforward question from SA 230. So I could say here a combination of 450 and 230. Next. Then we have a straight question from SQC1. Before accepting the engagement, what are the factors you will consider? That too specifically, how you will come to know about integrity. So one factor which we have to consider is integrity, and what factors you will verify to know whether the client is having integrity or not. So that you are required to write. Straightforward question. Next one. Scientific approach to sampling and the method of sampling to be chosen. So this is for a question from audit sampling. So an auditor will verifying the sales during the year, observe that sales transactions in that year are not more than 1 lakhs in number. He wants to determine sample size and its composition on the basis of his personal experience and knowledge and do the testing on his own judgment, non-statistical sampling. Kindly advise him about the scientific approach to the sampling and the method of sampling to be chosen. So the auditor wants to go for non-statistical sampling, but you are required to advise him what is more scientific method. So statistical sampling related discussion, you are required to write it here. Next one. Next, what we have. See, this is once again audit strategy planning and program. Once again, many questions were tested from this audit strategy planning and program. So one question is, what are the factors which affect the nature, timing, extent and direction and supervision of the engagement team members? One question is there in the MCQ only. For this question, you will find the answer in the MCQ only. So one MCQ is there. No, what are the factors which does not affect the supervision and review of the engagement team members? The same question has been given as a descriptive, right? So while planning the nature, timing and extent of direction of supervision of engagement team members and review of their work. Next one. Changes to the planning decisions. That means during the course of the audit, if you get extra information, what are the changes you are required to make it to the, whether you will make the changes to the audit plan or not. So that kind of question. So changes to the planning decision, one concept will be there. That's what this is related to. Then we have the question regarding how to conduct audit of the borrowings. This is a question from audit of items of the financial statements, how to conduct audit of the borrowings. That's what they are asking you here. Then one question from audit of various entities. What are the auditor's responsibilities with regard to audit of LLP? So audit of various entities. This is what the question related to. Next one. Then they are asking disclosure requirements of inventories. Once again from audit of items of the financial statements. Next one, we have a question regarding government audit regarding how to conduct audit of stores and inventories. So government audit, straightforward question. Next one. Yeah, this is from audit in an automated environment. How you are required to report the findings or exceptions in the IT environment. So if you have any findings or reportings, how you are going to communicate, how you are going to report them. So reporting requirements in case of exceptional reporting. Last question will be there that you are required to write. So now they are asking you about what are the various threats to the independence. They have given you few examples. So like a close business relationship with an audit client, self-interest threat, auditors perform the services that are themselves subject matter, self-review threat, deals in the shares or securities, advocacy threat, long association between specific auditors and their specific client. Once again, familiarity threat, deferred from acting objectively. This is a that intimidation threat. Okay, right. So some questions are there. More likely to respond. So someone is saying 10th MCQ answer is C, 10th MCQ answer is C, 10th MCQ answer is C, where they are saying here 10th MCQ. So we have done all the analysis on my part. Okay, they are asking you which is incorrect statement. So sorry guys, they are asking you which is incorrect statement. Yes, you are absolutely correct. So they are asking you which is incorrect statement. So this is the correct statement only. Yeah, sorry. So I explained it correct, but I did not mention the option correctly. Explanation and all is correct, guys. Yes, explanation and all is correct. So confirming parties may be less likely to respond. So correct option is D. They are asking you for incorrect option. Thanks for correcting me. Thanks a lot, guys. Okay. So confirming parties may be less likely to respond in the case of disagreement with the confirmation request when the information in the request is not in the favor. So D is correct option. They are asking me to incorrect. So C is the incorrect option. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for correcting me. Right. Then, yeah. Okay. Perfect. Nice, guys. So I hope your all exam have gone well. Anyhow, all the very best for your results to come, and also do the proper preparation for your next exam also. Take care. All the very best, my dear students. Bye. See you.